Welcome to this week's edition of the MMA Analysis podcast. We are back in your life after a week off. We're going to spend some time reviewing last week's pay-per-view, or 2 weeks ago's pay-per-view. And then we got fights again this weekend. We had a little bridge with some Bellator, which I think a lot of us cashed on.
I thought that was the pay-per-view you were talking about. The big Bader moldy guy pay-per-view.
Moldy Russian.
Yeah. The moldy Russian.
Bader, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, the heart on that man.
Yeah, I had 3 bets on that Bellator card. I had Bader, which was a crazy line. I mean, regardless of how you scored that fight, it was razor close. I gave it to Bader. I thought he did a lot more damage in the 5th round, even though there wasn't any damage. But the Russian guy, maybe. I mean, I'm trying to think of a more boring heavyweight.
He tried to make that.
He might outbore like the original Bigmadov.
Oh yeah,
that's tough.
At least Bigmadov tried to do steroids to get better.
Yeah, and he threw punches. Like Bellator Russian guy, he didn't even try. There was no attempt to win the fight from him. And then you complain about the decision and all that. Like Bader looked like old. He's old, right? Like he's old. Yeah. He's been in some fights, and like I thought there was some balls there for Bader.
He rocked him in the first, man.
I know.
And then dug deep when he was just getting blue balled for fucking 2 rounds and came back.
And then
man.
He's gonna keep that belt though, because now he's got Czech Congo next. Like
oh my
god. What a scrap.
Someone sent me a message on Twitter and he was like, that's like a week before Czech Congo's 47th birthday. And I was like, ha ha ha. He was not joking.
No.
I think it was 47. Whatever he told, I'm pretty sure he said 47. Yeah, 47.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, so Ryan Bader is going to beat this shitty Russian, and then he's going to fight a 47-year-old, and it's going to be
the genetics on that man. I think he needs to be studied because man, he looks good for a 47-year-old, still bricked up.
He does.
Looks good for a 27-year-old.
But he is. But then he fights and he gets hit. And
it's terrible. But just appearances.
So,
the honking is not keeping us awake.
Honking.
Maybe where Sean lives, but I'm in super granola Guelph, so that's not a thing here.
What's honking?
Yeah, I'm in. Oh, we're trying to do the shitty version of January 6th up here.
Yeah.
What does
There's
that
a bunch
mean?
of like right-wing nut jobs who are in Ottawa right now at our Parliament building and all that sort of stuff.
You guys have conservatives like that there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have everything that you guys have, just a watered-down version of it.
Yeah. Like always.
When we go all out. This is America. We don't.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that the protesters and the police don't have guns, so like nobody's shooting each other. So everyone's
so
just
nothing really happens. Nothing really happens. People just show up and they honk instead of using assault rifles. They honk their horns.
That's weak. If you're going to protest, at least bring a gun and shoot some civilians.
So it's the only way things get done, right?
Do you believe in it?
Just some fucking heart. But actually, the Bellator card, I actually enjoyed it. I loved the guy faked an eye poke, but Corrales still won. That was funny. Faking eye pokes is always a good thing to do, and that guy sucked. And then Caldwell once again proves he just does not care about winning. He was up on the cards when he quit.
Yeah. He was up 2-0. Other than one scorecard, so he was going to win a split if he survived. He's the Bellator Kevin Lee.
He ruined my sweep. Yeah, but Kevin Lee doesn't quit per se. He finds ways to lose. Caldwell straight up quits. He quits. Like it's not like Kevin Lee he'll do something stupid. Something will happen. Like Caldwell sat there in that position, getting hit in the head for 2 minutes, and then the only energy he showed that round is to complain about the stoppage.
You got to use your energy smartly. There,
that was bad. And they're talking about Barzola is amazing and all. Like that guy sucks.
Yeah, that was bad.
That guy's terrible.
That was a bad one.
Not good. Not good. All right. Well, we'll jump from there. We'll move into UFC 270, which was a few weeks ago, so we'll move pretty quick through this. But we can talk about. There's only 3 of us this week. Wes is salting roads.
He transformed from the Sodsman to the Saltzman this week.
Oh.
The Saltzman. Good for him. You know, we're supposed to get some ice here. I guess the same thing in a couple of days, but I think they're getting it a lot worse. Now, Nashville's basically turned into.
It's the same story.
Nashville's like. We're like the frozen tundra up in Nashville now. We've gotten over 10 inches of snow this year, which is crazy for Nashville. And now we got ice coming again. It's supposed to be 15 degrees on Saturday. Like, I don't know what's happening. Like, it does not feel like living in the South this winter. It's brutal. Anyway. All right. So UFC 270, we'll go through this. Prelim card, women's flyweight, some chick, Jasmine versus the OnlyFans chick. She won by decision. Yeah, it happened.
Keep going.
Yeah, nothing. All right, women's strawweight, Vanessa Demopoulos defeated Silviana Juarez by armbar. Very women's fight there.
Perfect.
That was hilarious fight. But let's keep going.
Chick actually has power and then gets armbarred. Love it.
And she jumps in Rogan's arms and
humped him. Yeah, it's good.
Terrible. I wouldn't touch that guy. All right, lightweight division, Matt Pravola defeated Valdez, TKO, first round. This is fun. I lost on this one. I had Valdez. I took a stab on Valdez in this one because I'm not a big Pravola guy. And he did do some stupid shit even in those 3 minutes. Like, he did still find a way to get hit sometimes. But that was fun. That was the most fun Pravola. Like, he should just, throw caution to the wind like that more often because that was awesome.
Looking at how the fight played out, your Valdez bet looks even better because Pravola did everything he needed to lose the fight.
Yeah, and I felt like if I was going to lose that fight, Pravola would get takedowns and be on top and kind of wear him out there. Like a firefight, I was like, when I was watching, I was like, well, he's in it.
He gave you a good shot, that's for sure.
Yeah, he's in it. But yeah, Pravola looked fun. All right, bantamweight division, Tony Gravely defeated Salman Oliveira, 30-27 across the board. I literally have no recollection of this fight.
The million takedowns.
I don't know if I watched it or not.
The guy kept dropping for guillotines like he's fucking Du Bronx, and obviously he's not.
Yeah, well, there was football on, so
Smart.
If I didn't have a bet in a fight, I might not have watched this closely. But yay! All right, I did watch this one. Welterweight division, Jack Della Maddalena defeated Pete Rodriguez. Pete Rodriguez, tub of shit. First of all, garbage.
Horrible.
That guy. Horrible. But I will say, the boxing looked pretty good in this one. Like, his striking looked good. It looked crisp. He has power. I now see why he was favored over Worley. We were talking about that on the last show. Like, does that make sense? But, like, Worley can eat some punches and go to bed. and this guy hits pretty hard. I'm actually interested to see this guy. I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, he did what he should do against a guy like Paul Rodriguez.
Yes.
Pete Rodriguez. It's obviously he needs to step up, and then hopefully he can show those skills at a higher level.
Yeah, I think it was more not like who he was facing, but just watching him strike, you can tell he's good.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
He's like the upgraded Mason Jones.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't get hit quite as much, but like really clean striking.
He does get hit, but yeah, like that offense.
But not
good.
that much.
Yeah. Not that.
Yeah. Last prelim was Victor Henry defeated Barcelos. Gotta be like Matt Riddle-esque here. Like, just the stupidity on Barcelos is second to none. It's almost impressive.
Stupid, but he was still looking okay doing it.
Yeah, but why? Right?
I know.
Like, why? He lost. He lost every round.
Yeah,
he lost every round as a 5-1 favorite. That's why.
And didn't look horrible in a bunch of that, but still got absolutely lit up.
Yeah, but if you're a A+ grappler and a C striker, and you're facing a B+ striker and a C- grappler, why are you standing? Immediate go for the takedown first round, and then he was looking okay with the strikes, and then he got caught at the end of the first round, that last minute, and that kind of changed the tide. But like, he should never got to that point. Like, we've seen this before with him. Like, just fucking wrestle, man. Like, get on top. He's great on top, but he's stupid.
Yep.
Full Riddle. That's going full Riddle. Next level.
Incredibly fun fight, though.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, welterweight division. Michael Morales defeated Trevin Giles, knockout first round. I like this kid. Giles deserved this shit. I said that in the first minute. Giles drops this kid. Kid is like dead, and then decides like, you know what, this is a good time to clinch. And I think I even tweeted out Giles deserves to lose after that shit. And then he just fucking gets deaded. I had the doesn't go in this one at plus money.
Smart.
So I was happy here, but man, deserves it. Like one of these guys gonna understand. It's like we see more often. I don't know if it's the card at the workout or how they're doing it, but we see guys coming back. It seems like a lot more in the last couple of years. Maybe it's something pandemic driven or whether I don't know.
Everybody wants to fight.
If you get a chance to put a guy away, you take the chance. You don't grapple. Like Madden.
He's absolutely terrified of getting hit, though. He's like, oh, fucking rock this guy. Maybe I can take him down and finish him on the ground so he has no chance of knocking me the fuck out.
So bad.
Bad.
So bad. All right. Bantamweight Said Nurmagomedov just absolutely demolishes Cody Stamann. Nothing there. Cody's done. This is it. I think we all took a stab on Cody in this one, I think. But I didn't see it playing out like this. Munich. I'll say that. Was that Munich? We're back, baby.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that I did not expect it to be that easy. Stamann made a horrible fucking error and paid for it.
He seems to find ways to lose. This one just took a little shorter route quicker to the end. So, yeah. But Nurmagomedov, I mean, we'll see who he faces next because I think we're gonna see a pretty blown up number if he gets someone, even decent. I think a lot of people really rank that win over Stamann pretty high. So we'll see. All right. And then we went to welterweight division. Michael Pereira defeated Andre Filo, 29-28 across the board. I thought this was a fun fight. It was kind of exactly everything you'd expect. There wasn't a finish here or anything, but I thoroughly enjoy watching him. It seemed like the old Pereira was back.
Yeah, losing in the second round, absolutely horrible fighter. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, just how he did the dumb shit was back. Like perfect. Almost loses, but finds a way. Like, I love this guy.
Yeah, he was like even money going into the third, I believe.
I saw that. Brad, anything here? No.
My internet's crapping out.
Oh, he's muted.
So
there we go.
Yeah.
Oh. It's all those the right wing rallies. They're getting you.
They're stealing all the nets.
The honks are getting me.
Ain't no one putting something in my body. Now hand me that crack. All right. Co-main event. Figgy Smalls defeated Brandon Moreno. 48-47, 48-47, 48-47. Consistency. I saw a lot of people crying on this one. In terms of the result, I did give Figgy the nod here. I thought he won that fight. I was not happy. I got a little greedy on this one. I played inside, so didn't win. I wasn't overly confident in it, and I played doesn't go and inside, and I kind of split it between the Figgy inside and just doesn't go in general. I thought it was going to be Moreno late or Figgy early, but Figgy looked good. He looked improved. I would say it was kind of the middle between the first fight was like berserker mode. Second fight, I felt like he was too tentative and trying to be too smart. I feel like he did find a middle ground here. I still would have liked to see him push a little bit faster. I was kind of worried as this fight was going on because I'm not a big Brandon Moreno guy. I just don't like nerds. He's a nerd. I'm not a nerd fan. But yeah, I don't want to see a fourth fight. Not right now.
You don't?
No.
You would rather see Askar Askarov fight.
Well, that guy's not going to win whoever he's facing next, so that's not going to happen.
He's fighting like Alex Perez, isn't he?
Alex Perez will Alex Perez would stomp his ass anyway.
You hope. I don't think that's correct. But
to me, when they just fought 3 times in a row, back to back to back. I can't unless that
I know, but that's UFC's fault. Like, we shouldn't have had the fucking trilogy then.
We kind of had to.
I mean, with how dominant that second win was, like, fuck, we could have waited for the trilogy.
I was okay for the third. There isn't like a great contender, I would say, but I can't think of any reason to have guys fight each other 4 times in a row. That's just ridiculous. Like,
I mean, that kind of shows how not exciting the top of the flyweight division is.
It's horrible. It's probably the worst. Flyweights had an up and down thing. I feel like flyweight was always kind of strong, like when Mighty Mouse here, like 2-10, but he was so dominant, it kind of took away a lot of the fun. And then, like Cejudo leaves and all that, and now we got Figgy and Moreno, and then it's not the greatest, but I'd still rather, like, if Moreno wants to sit out and whatever, like, but I think Figgy fights a contender, and I think Moreno fights the number one contender, and then they fight again after that if they both win. Like, that's fine. 4 fights in a row to me is just absolute ridiculous, and I have zero interest in it. And Moreno whining already, and it was a bad decision. Like, if I'm Moreno, like, I think the best way to get it isn't whining about the decision. It's saying he beat me. It's 1-1-1. Let's settle this shit like men. I'm gonna come back better, not like whine and play with his Legos and his prostitute that he hired to walk into the arena with him.
Oh, you're a hater, Lance. You're a hater. He got that girl fair and square, just like all the other. Well,
it is legal
Brazilians.
in Vegas. I guess I agree.
He got the upgrade. I mean, you're allowed one upgrade.
Bought that girl fair and square? Is that what you just said?
Fair and square. Yep.
I thought Moreno had a bad game plan. I think that made Figueiredo look a lot better. I thought that Moreno would kind of push the pace and try to grapple more. He had success with grappling in the second fight, and he just didn't pull the trigger. It was kind of a low event. Like the striking numbers are decent, but it was kind of it wasn't as action packed as I thought it would
great.
Be.
It wasn't a great fight. I thought it was an okay fight. Like, that's the other thing to go down in the fourth fight. That third fight was not like the last fight. It was not great. Like, it was mostly boring. Like, don't forget the first, outside of a round and a half, like those first couple rounds were dreadful. Like, they weren't great. Moreno was super cautious, and it wasn't anything. But we did learn from Joe Rogan that Brandon Moreno clearly has more power in his hands than Figgy. So I didn't know that until I watched this fight, but Rogan said clearly that Moreno has more power. So that's good to know. So now that we know that, we can figure this out moving forward.
You always learn something when you listen to Joe Rogan. Is what I've always said.
It's impossible not to learn things that may or may not be actually true.
God, he's got to be one of the dumbest people on earth at this point. Like, have you seen all the memes going around where it's like fake Rogan scripts? Where it's like, no way, bro, let me Google that. Whoa! Like, this whole thing they keep going around. It's so funny.
The best one I saw was about peanuts growing in the ground versus on trees.
Yes, that was great. That can't be true. And then fucking chimpanzees. Oh, God. The guy's in it. Like, I'm not in the crowd that's like, oh, he needs to be canceled. Like, he needs like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I don't care if he has a show. I don't care if people listen to him. I just want people to acknowledge he's an idiot. Like, I don't care if you listen to him and all the morons. Like, if the morons want to drink bleach and not believe in things except UFOs and Bigfoot, like, I am completely okay with that. I just don't want people to tell me Rogan's smart. I just can't. That's what I can't deal with. This guy's just a complete idiot. God. Oh, did you see the one thing where he had the doctor on and he was talking about, it was some kind of like heart condition and Rogan said like the vaccine causes a heart condition. And the doctor was like,
the myocarditis.
Yes.
Yeah, he pulled his card and fucking Rogan's like, wait, no, I must have been looking at a different.
Because he was, the guest was like, not so he's like, no, that's incorrect. And he's like, no, I Googled it. And he was like, yes, but the getting COVID is 38 times more likely.
Oh, I don't think so.
But I'm talking about kids. Like, kids. And the guy was like, yeah. We're talking about 5 to 8
years. Study shows.
And he's like, no. I gotta Google this. He's like, he just even at the end when he was proven wrong, he was proven wrong by his own search results. At the end, he was like, nah, but can you really trust these studies?
Yeah. Who's funding these? That's the go-to when.
What, did Pfizer pay for this?
Yeah.
And everyone keeps talking about and look, like if someone says get the vaccine, they're like, oh, and look, they own stock in Pfizer. I'm like, everyone owns stock in Pfizer when you're looking through all these funds and everything owns. Like, give me a fucking break. Anyway, the world. What a world.
Yeah.
And we'll move on to the main
stock. Jake Paul owns the UFC now.
He does. I read that. Ariel told me.
Yep.
He has voting rights. This isn't like
majority
a
owner
stock purchase. He's 0.00002% owner of the UFC. So if you don't think he's able to change some things, you just don't understand business.
You know what? I actually love everything that Jake Paul's doing. I find it hilarious.
Funny,
I think that this is probably a great investment decision for him personally, and I think he can have an impact on MMA, but it's not through being a financial partner in the UFC. It's through running his own shit and having people.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win. Either nothing changes and he makes a bunch of money having a bunch of stocks in fucking Endeavor, or he gets a bunch of cred for trying to change some things in MMA. So it's
he could almost control the stock price in a way. Like, let's say he was to invest like $20 million, like buy $20 million worth of stock, and then he buys the stock.
$20 million.
That guy has a lot of money.
He's got a lot of money.
He does. Yes.
Sadly.
So let's say he could do this. He puts $20 million, buys $20 million worth of UFC stock. The next day he calls Dana White and says, "I'm ready for a 1-fight deal."
Stock's gonna go up if he's a fucking pay-per-view.
He goes, "I'm signing." No, even beforehand, right? He goes, "I'm signing with." He calls Dana, announces the next day, "I am signing with the UFC." Right? Stock goes up like 20%. He sells it all and then doesn't fight. Just kidding.
And then Logan Paul shows up instead of Jake.
And he makes like $5 million or whatever. Like in the games. I like Jake Paul. I think it's funny. All right, we'll go quick on Ngannou. This has already been talked enough by everyone, so we don't need to touch on it. Cyril Gane is awful. He is awful. The Bellator boring guy, pretty close. Pretty close. I mean, the guy does not try to hurt you. He does absolutely no damage. The announcing in this fight was even worse, I thought, than the first one. If you would have listened to Rogan and them, you would have assumed that Ngannou had a 30-second gas tank and Gane could go for like 88 minutes. Meanwhile, we're in the 5th round, sucking wind, getting out wrestled, for 3 straight rounds. I thoroughly enjoyed this fight. I had a lot of money on Ngannou. That obviously helps a bit, but I thought it was just very intriguing how it played out and went down, and hilarious. Gane sucks.
Yeah, this is just a perfect fight because obviously we're all on Hog. I don't think many of us expected this to go this way, but going this way is perfect because everybody's like, "Oh, Ngannou's still so one-dimensional. He's got to knock him out inside one, or else he's fucked. He's just gonna get Or people were talking about Gane having the grappling advantage. Dude, this guy's got a heel hook submission. It's like. Fucking, he was so gassed, and Ngannou just worked him. That was perfect. Lay and pray, love it. Lay and pray to the win.
In fantasy land, he has 2 heel hooks right now.
Oh yes,
it was so hilarious.
That was such a smart, just an intelligent. Like everybody thought. Gane's probably got the fight IQ. He's got the edge there, and that's what he showed in the 5th round.
Tremendous. Just absolutely tremendous. All right. We'll move on to this week's card. It's okay card, I guess. It's not good. I would say it's a bad card with some really fun fighters throughout the card. Fair?
Yeah, it's pretty rough coming off a week break. Yeah.
I mean, Gore versus Battle, Erosa, Peterson. Those are main card fights, and Nick Maximov is the co-main. So unless we got unless Do Bronx is the main event here, it's not looking pretty good. So all right, we'll jump in. Brendan Allen's later on the card, I believe. He's on the main card. The old Wikipedia hasn't updated yet. Where's Brendan Allen at? Okay, yeah, he's pretty close to the top.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll jump in with Malcolm Gordon versus Denny's Bondar, the Psycho. Good one. You, Sean?
How bad is Malcolm Gordon? I'll tell you how bad he is.
He's bad.
He's fighting a guy that hasn't fought in like a year and a half. And the guy some of his wins, like the third last guy he beat was 0-3 or is 0-3.
It's pretty good.
And this dude is a minus 250 favorite. That's how bad Malcolm Gordon is. He's actually up to like 260, 270. Gordon is not good.
He sucks. But he won his last fight, so now he's back.
Boggles my mind that guy was able to get a UFC win. He's Canadian. He's terrible. He's got a lot of things going against him. If I bet very shitty fights, I'd probably take Bondar inside the distance. But I'm trying not to do that in the year of our Lord 2022.
It's probably smart. Brad?
Yeah.
If you're betting this fight, it should definitely be, or if you're betting Bondar, it should definitely be inside the distance because Gordon loves getting finished, but usually it's getting punched and getting finished. And this Bondar guy seems more of a grappler. So Gordon's actually a half decent grappler. So I don't hate like a Gordon decision prop. I don't know what that is. I'm trying to look it up right now. Plus 500. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility here, but that would be the only thing I'd touch on this fight.
Yeah, nothing here. This fight could be interesting from like a hilarious standpoint between a couple really bad fighters and some funny grappling exchanges, but I don't know how you bet here. I mean, Gordon has never lost by decision. He gives up. He doesn't want to hurt his face or whatever, so he probably will quit. I think it just depends how he quits. Like, he's been sub once. Like, if he's in a position where he can quit with a choke, he'll quit from a choke. If he can quit via punch, he'll quit via punch. So I do think, it doesn't matter. He's going to quit either way. But with that said, I don't know how you just pick this random Ukrainian who hasn't fought in a year and a half and came from some org no one's ever heard of. So, yeah, I'll pick Bondar because I know Gordon sucks and I don't know much about this Ukrainian fellow. I like the Psycho nickname because it doesn't fit with, like, there's a P in his name somewhere. It's just like Psycho. Reminds me of, like, what is that? What's that fucking old Stripes? You call me Psycho. Anyway, let's move on now. Light heavyweight division. Jalton Almeida versus the Neo Marques. You, Sean? Marques. Say Marques.
Yes. Yeah, that seems
Marquez.
Yeah.
Marquez.
Usually they don't put like Brazilians against each other, but as we know in this day and age, everybody wants to fight, so I guess they might have throw that out the window. Almeida is obviously pretty hyped up coming off the Contender Series. He's very bricked up. He's a scary looking dude. The number is a bit crazy in my opinion, but I really don't want to have money on Marques. I'll probably still pick. It's minus 400 roughly.
I don't even
for
know who
Almeida.
This guy is. Oh, I remember this guy.
He's got a look. He's got a look. He's
a brick house.
He's an absolute brick shit house. Yeah. So that you gotta put that into the line. Yeah, I'll pick Almeida, but that's some big juice.
Yeah, Brad.
All right, I moved right beside the router, so if my internet doesn't work now, then it's probably
looking good. It's looking a lot better, Brad.
Beautiful. Jailbird Almeida. I don't know what this dude's sentence was or what he got locked up for, but he worked out every day. That dude was on the bench press relentlessly because he is jacked. And Danilo Marques sucks. He can grapple, but he's not going to be able to grapple with this dude on top of him, and then he's going to get tired, and then he's going to get smashed in some way or another. So the Jailbird all day in this one.
What is this line, Brad? You said
it's like minus 400. I'm not betting it, but
yeah,
probably inside, just because Marques is going to get so tired.
It's inside's like minus 170 or something like that. So you got nothing here.
Nope, nothing.
Top goal.
Yeah, I mean, it seems likely for a finish. And also Brickhouse has never won by decision. So maybe minus 160 is kind of a steal if you think about it.
It should be minus 1,000.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have been so fucking busy. I haven't had time to look in this card too deep. So the fights I knew I wasn't going to bet, I didn't really look at. But yeah, I like Almeida here now that I remember him from the show because he was just absolutely like the dude's chest, like in his shoulders. He's jacked. I don't even know if it's like. it doesn't look like he's juiced per se. Like he doesn't have like armpit veins or looks unnatural. He just looks like he works out a shit ton.
Speaking of juice, how did the Magma Man do today? Do we know?
Was the fight today?
I thought it was this week or something.
It's tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow? Yeah, I think the weigh-ins were today or something, right?
I didn't even know Pepe was still fighting. He was the original Magma. I remember that. Like he was like a normal looking dude, and then he just showed up for a fight. He looked like he put on like 75 pounds of muscle. We're like, holy Magma.
He is ready to go.
God, that guy I didn't know he was still fighting.
This is his first fight since before the pandemic. So
yeah, he hasn't fought since March 2019. So that's a long time.
170.
All the Magma going up to 170.
He went up 2 weight classes.
Yep.
Is there lines for this? Is it lined? I want to watch this and bet on it.
I've seen lines on this promotion before, but I don't think there's any for this particular card.
Damn, they should have never cut this dude. He's just too juiced to cut. He can't do stuff like that. All right. Banger coming up here in the women's bantamweight division as we have Alexis Davis taking on Georgia Stoliarenko. News, John?
It's not happening, man. I got nothing. Alexis Davis is 1-4 in her last 5 fights. The other one's 0-2 in the UFC. Why is this happening? I will pick, I guess, Alexis Davis. She is a -240 favorite. That is very bad.
That is bad. That is very bad. Brad, do you have anything?
I can't even fade Alexis Davis as a -240 favorite in 2022. That's how bad this fight is.
Everyone wants to fight. Stop complaining.
Everyone
wants to fight. Yeah, I got absolutely nothing here. We'll move on. Welterweight division, Jason Witt taking on Philip Rowe. You, Sean?
Yeah, man. Jason Witt has an absolute glass jaw. But he can get takedowns. And Philip Rowe does like to give up takedowns. I was kind of looking at Witt as like a +120, +130 underdog, but it's just a matter of time before Rowe just touches him and he goes out. I think he might be able to get some takedowns early, but at some point it's going to clip that chin. I'm just going to stay away from a bet.
Brad?
I was trying to look at the Rowe round props because I definitely think he's going to get taken down in the first round. That seems like something that is certainly going to happen in this fight. And then not only does Witt have no chin, but he gets tired pretty quickly in fights. So I think coming out in round 2 or round 3, he gets caught with something, and Phil Rowe is your winner. I just hope they rebook him against Chris Wade. You know, the old classic, Roe v. Wade.
Something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. They're already having that fight in the United States. If you want to come on over.
It's on like fight 17 now. It just never stops.
I like Rowe here. I don't love him. I think I need the line to come down a little bit to be able to bet him. But I think when you look at pure talent and skill wise, Witt has to be like towards the bottom of the roster in terms of like actual skills at MMA. He's a little bit tough. He can tough some shit out. He's kind of just grindy. He sneaks his way out of things, but he's not very good. And Rowe has decent striking, and if he can, if he keeps his fight in the feet, I do think he can work him on the feet. And I don't know if he get a finish, but I think he can kind of batter him a little bit. So I do like Rowe in this fight to kind of fight off most of the takedowns, stay on the feet, and Witt does tire a good bit. You do see him slow down, even when he's looked decent. You kind of see him slow down a bit. So I do like Philip Rowe here, but it's got to go down a little bit. I think last time I saw it was like, I think one site had like -120, but it was mostly like 145, 150 in most areas. So we'll see how this comes Saturday to see if it's worth a stab for me.
I don't hate -120 or better here.
Yeah, maybe it'll keep moving. We'll see. All right, next up we have the middleweight division. Chidi Njokuani versus Marc-Andre Barriault. You, Sean?
Yeah, this is another close fight that I think I'm going to stay away from. Chidi's good on the feet. He can be taken down. Barriault's not really a big takedown artist. He just loves to grind. His last two fights, he's thrown a shit ton of volume.
Versus losers.
They're against terrible fighters. That's
Absolute
completely fair.
Losers.
That's completely fair. So that might change things when he actually has a decent striker throwing back at him. That might kind of shut down his amount of volume. I'll pick Chidi. Barriault's Canadian. Canadians are terrible at fighting. We got better things to do.
And apparently protesting. You guys like bitch out with it and don't even kill anybody.
Well, I heard that was funded by some American groups. So,
like Trump.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, I'll take Chidi, but I don't want to bet
Doesn't he do everything? People are going to probably tell you that Barriault has so much volume and, puts the pressure on and that sort of stuff. But I mean, he really kind of sucks at everything. He can't wrestle. He doesn't have power. His volume is against guys who are completely gassed by, the third minute of the fight. So it's kind of easy for him to take over those fights. And any decent fighter he's fought has gotten the better of him. And I think that Chidi's just got advantages everywhere here. So at distance, much longer, much more diverse game. Barriault, if he could get him down, I don't even think that's a benefit for him. And Barriault's big problem is when he controls guys, it's up in the clinch. And Chidi, as much as he's not been a great grappler at times, he's always been pretty devastating and strong in the clinch. He'll hit you with knees, elbows, everything. He's got good leverage. I think he just beats Barriault up and probably gets the decision here.
Did you guys watch Eagle FC the other day?
No.
It was so bad.
Saw some highlights. It was bad.
It was so bad. Everything was bad about it. It was hilariously bad. But my favorite is Anthony Njokuani fought on the card. And
he got smashed, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, hilariously. He hadn't fought, and I think I saw 7 years. And he was like 45. Like, it was really bad. And then I don't know. I was doing like multiple things. I had it on my computer, but I was watching TV. It was kind of like, over there. And they kept calling. They said it like 5 or 6 times. Anthony, the legend, Njokuani. They called him 5 or 6 times a legend.
Been around, man.
Legendary. Just legendary, that guy. Like, what do you have, like 2 UFC wins? That's pretty good. I guess.
People like to throw that status around in MMA and
legend. He immediately got taken down and quit. It was hilarious. Anyway, Chidi has to avenge his brother's loss. The legendary Anthony Njokuani. There's a couple things here. I think when you look at who Chidi has lost to in his past, and he was in the regional circuit for a while, but I feel like he was a guy we always watched. Like, I feel like even though he hasn't really this is his first. Has he fought after the Contender? I don't remember.
No,
or is this his first one, right?
This is his UFC debut.
Yeah.
But he's always fought UFC level guys.
Yeah, well, I feel like I've watched him. Like, I feel like I've seen him fight like 7, 8 times. Like, when he was on like Access TV and some of that stuff back in the day and all that. Like, I feel like I've seen him fight a lot. And he's facing a Canadian. And no offense, fellers, 2 Canadians and a Jew, 2 Jews. We'll have to figure out how we call that when there's just the 3 of us to make sure it's spaced out well. Canadians are not good. They're not good at fighting. So we're getting Chidi, who's, after 10 years of kind of fighting through the regional, gets his UFC debut, and he's facing a Canadian. That's great. He's going to be excited. And I think when Chidi does lose, guys who can drag him down from the clinch, not just clinch him against the cage. Barry is going to clinch you against the cage and try to do that. Chidi is good in the clinch. It's when he can get taken down. If you get Chidi on his back, he's fucking donezo. He can't get up. But I don't think Barry is that guy. I think this is going to be mostly on the feet. And I think Chidi is going to beat the shit out of him. And I think at plus 100, I think that's definitely worth the play. I like Chidi a good bit on this one. So this is going to be Munich. We actually have a reasonable Munich this week. I feel like we just keep doing like plus 300s and it's not working out. So reasonable Munich.
And like he's still an old guy, so we're
He
sticking
still
with
fits
that.
the mold.
He's still got the hog advantage, so
we're not smartening up by any means. Like, don't get me wrong. If Josh Koscheck fought next week, that's Munich.
Maybe not Koss.
I think Brad might put the kibosh on that one.
Mm-mm. Fine. Frankie Edgar fights next week versus, I don't know, pick someone. We're taking Frankie.
Conor McGregor.
Frankie, takedowns.
That's going to be McGregor's comeback fight.
Movement.
Barriault's got a fight. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Oh, yeah, Gustafsson was so scared he didn't want to rebook that fight. He actually went back up to heavyweight. And is fighting fucking Ben Rothwell.
Yeah, that might be my favorite fight on calendar right now is Ben Rothwell versus Gus. But Krylov's a fucking dead man. Holy shit, is that man dead? He's gonna do something. He's gonna take him down. Guarantee Krylov shoots a takedown instantly on Barriault.
That's how Krylov's been winning his fights lately.
I know, it's gonna be fucking fabulous.
He's a grappler now.
Yeah, good luck. Good fucking luck. Especially after what Whoopi said the other day. The Jews are fired up.
Oh, don't worry. They're fired up here, too.
Fired up. All right. Speaking of Canadians, featherweight division, Hakeem Dawodu versus Michael Trizano. Nushan, is he your best now?
He's definitely our best. That fucking pronunciation of his last name is perfect.
What is it, Dawodu?
What letters are? Look at the vowels that are in his name.
Dawodu?
That's probably actually the right way to say it. That's not the way I pronounce it.
Dawodu?
I don't think that's how Anik pronounces it, which is
he's always
that's not
right.
how Dawodu pronounces it, but that's what we call him. Yeah.
Dawodu. Who cares what his name is?
I think he's our best, which is
that's so sad.
That's bad.
He's very average.
This is what happens in socialism, man. When you get free healthcare, people just don't want to fight for peanuts.
Yeah, because you're not fighting for your life.
No.
In America, everyone wants to fight. In Canada, only half of us want to fight half the time.
Yeah, you guys want to play like tennis and some lame shit like that. I get it.
Cross.
I think this is a fairly good matchup for Dawodu. Usually he's got to be worried about getting taken down. For the most part, when it's on the feet, I mean, save for his kind of first fight in the UFC, he when it's on the feet, he does pretty well. He doesn't have big power, which is a bit concerning because he's not really putting guys away, and guys can kind of stick around and make some fights probably closer than they should be. I don't think he's going to get taken down by Trizano. I think you can save some money and take Dawodu by decision. I think it's
never do that.
I know, Lance, but he's kind of a decision machine. Like his only finish, he like basically committed murder. Like that was a mercy stoppage, and he still barely got it. I definitely had go decision in that fight. I was live for it. That was a nice loss. But yeah, I just think he's going to be able to win the striking. He's going to be on the feet. Trizano doesn't really throw that much volume. I don't think he's that good. Like when you look back in hindsight, like he beat Klein. Klein was very hyped up for one win that he got. We saw with Grant Dawson, he was able to grapple him and overwhelm him. I like Dawodu. I'm not playing his money line. I'm going to risk it and play decision because I don't have anything really to parlay him with.
Brad?
I gotta disagree with Sean. I think he's got the red and white colored glasses on in this one.
He is Canadian, which is terrifying.
Yeah. Trizano is one of those guys that like turns dudes into wrestlers. And if that doesn't happen, first of all, I don't think Dawodu has the wrestling for that to be a thing that happens in this fight. And if it doesn't, we've never really seen him throw the kind of volume that Trizano does before people inevitably start grappling with him. So Dawodu was definitely the better striker in this fight. But I'm just not sure that he's going to throw enough to win on the judges' scorecards. And as you said, he's a decision machine. So this is going the distance, and I think it's going to be super close. So I'm not taking the shot on Trizano yet, but I don't know what the decision line is off the top of my head, but that might be something that I would look at.
Yeah, I like the Canadian fella here. Actually, I think Sean I think Sean kind of nailed it with the wrestling piece of like when he's in the feet, he usually wins. Like he looks pretty good. It's the fear of the takedown which alters his striking, and then getting taken down. But on the feet, like this guy hasn't really been outstruck very often. Like he is good in the feet. He lacks the power, but he is able to control fights, and I do think he has to press. He's going to have to keep up with Trizano here. But I'm not sold on Trizano at all. I think he is a below average fighter. I do not think he's very good. I think Hakeem is a little bit above average fighter. Canadian fucking GOAT status. But I think he's good enough here. I think the line being under 2-1 is extremely fair. I will have him in a parlay here, and I think he wins a pretty clean decision. All right, bantamweight division. Miles Johns taking on John Castañeda. Yeah, new Sean.
Yeah, I think this could be a somewhat fun fight. It's hard for me to pick a side on this. I was kind of looking at Miles Johns by KO. He seems to carry his power pretty late into fights. The problem is like Castañeda hasn't been finished in a very, very long time. He seems to be pretty durable. I think Johns can kind of win the stand-up fight. I don't think there's going to be much grappling going on between them. They're both not very good at getting takedowns, so I think it's going to be on the feet. It could be a somewhat close fight. I think Johns will have the power advantage, and I think that might be enough. So I don't know if he's going to be able to get Castañeda out of there. So I'll stay away from this one, but pick Miles Johns.
Brad.
Castañeda seems durable, and that's about it. I don't care that he beat Eddie Wineland in his last fight.
Huge win. He was ranked.
Was he actually ranked?
I don't know. Made that up. I just feel like Eddie Wineland. I feel like Eddie Wineland's going to be ranked 10 years from now still.
I feel like Miles Johns is better everywhere here, and this line has gone from like minus 250 to minus 180 over the course of the day today, and I don't really understand it. Maybe people are thinking if Castañeda can stay around, he'll win the last couple of rounds. But Sean, as you said, John sort of carries his power through all 3 rounds. So I think between that and being the better wrestler here, he's just going to be able to find a way to win and find somewhere that's comfortable for him, however the fight's going.
Yeah, actually, I'm with Brad on this one. I think the line is extremely short. I was actually surprised when I went to look at lines the other day for the first time. I thought this one would be like minus 300 plus, honestly, on Johns. I do think he's better everywhere. If you said like neither guy is a good grappler, but if anyone's going to get a take, then actually going to be Johns here. I think Johns is the better grappler here, so he does have that path if he needs to. But I think he's the better striker. I think he's better everywhere. And at minus 170, I think that's a very, very fair line. I will be betting on Johns. And Castañeda, take out the Wineland fight. He had lost 3 of 4, like against bums. Like he had lost 2 of his last 3 at Combate. Like, I had to say it like that. He's not very good. He's a very average fighter. I think Miles Johns is kind of like last fight. He's above average. I think Miles Johns is actually pretty decent. Like he finds ways to win fights. His power, he seems to be getting more power recently, and not just because of the finishes. If you just watch him strike, like he seems to have found something with his hands and his power. So really like Miles Johns here. Think this is going to be a big performance. I think it's finished. All right, moving on to the main card. Juicy J, Julian Erosa, taking on Steven Peterson. It's how you start a main card after a week break. Juicy J. You, Sean?
Before Sean goes, the best version of Juicy J in any universe is like the perfect pay-per-view opener.
He really is. I will say this. Since he's come back for the 7th return into the UFC, I have thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. It's been fabulous.
If you include the Contender Series, he's fought 9 times, and his fights have went to the decision once.
He's on a good streak. He's on 4 or 5. How fucked up is that?
It's mind-boggling. I still think he's not very good. And I've definitely lost some money betting against him, and he just keeps proving me wrong. I still, like I said, I don't think he's that good. I don't have the balls to back Steven Peterson in this fight. I do, however, want to take inside the distance, or fight doesn't go to decision. Like I said, Erosa's been in 9 fights in the UFC and Contender Series. 1 decision in there. He's getting fucked up, or he's snatching subs and doing all kinds of crazy shit. So I think more often than not, this is gonna get finished. And I think doesn't go is like -120. Where did I see it?
You're missing one thing from your analysis.
-105. What am I missing?
You can't knock Steven Peterson out.
I know, but he can get. I think.
Can you? Because he's literally never been submitted.
He's never been subbed, and he's only been finished once. That is the sketchy part. He is durable, but I just think Erosa creates enough chaos that something's going to be there. It might even be Erosa getting flatlined or something. So
there it is.
I hope it's that. I'd be pissed if that happens a bit, because then I should have backed Peterson and been fading Erosa like I have been. But I think somebody's getting a finish in this fight, so I'll be taking that at -105.
Peterson KO is +800.
I saw
a big number, man.
Out there.
Yeah.
I just looked at the first one I saw. Peterson decision +500. Yeah, this is
Erosa likes to be hit, man.
They
both like to be hit.
I do like this fight, but man, Steven Peterson could fucking eat anything. He's nuts.
I hope he does, and then he can return and hit fucking Erosa's jaw and put him out.
He also gasses like a son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's where I think the sub can come into play. Just like him shooting into something stupid, because that's what Steven Peterson does, or just throws absolute haymakers, and any one of those at any point in the fight could knock Erosa out. So I like the doesn't go as well. I think it's a Juicy J fight. There's chaos. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, this was tough, man. I actually dig, like, the more I look into this fight, like I kind of dig this fight. It's very interesting styles. Like, as you guys broke it out, you got Erosa who's just a fucking nut job, just all over the place. Like, die or kill. Like, that's always his thing. And Peterson, like, he gets a little reckless. Yeah, he gets a little reckless, but like he's still, like, he maintains himself a little bit, and he's almost impossible to finish. I mean, for the level he's been at through UFC and some very higher up regional with LFA and stuff like that, to only be finished once in 28 fights. Like, is Juicy J the guy to do it? I don't know.
Juicy J is a magical finisher.
He does find a way. I will give him that, but I don't know how you can be confident here. And at the same time, like, he's on a run, and I've never thought too much of Steven Peterson. And it's like, I would never bet Juicy J in a parlay or anything like that. You just cannot, like, the line's insane. But, like, do I have to at a +240, whatever it's at? Like, is that a must bet on Steven Peterson at a line like that? Like, is that, like, because if Juicy J doesn't get a finish in early, and I don't know, but Peterson doesn't have a good gas tank either. Like, this could be just the worst fucking fight ever the last round. I don't know.
Peterson doesn't have a great gas tank, but he's going to keep throwing regardless of how tired he is.
Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck.
Any of them could knock out Erosa.
I'm probably going to bet on this fight. I'm not going to lie. Like, it'll probably be a smaller bet, more than my average, maybe a little less than a unit. But, like, I know when I'm making my bets this week, like, Steven Peterson will be on the list. I don't know how you can pass up a line like that versus Juicy J, because if he can just survive, and that's what Steven Peterson's number one attribute is, surviving and biting down and throwing punches. So I think at that price, you gotta probably throw a bet on old Steven Peterson. So, all right, let's move on to the was supposed to be the tough finale, right? Wasn't Gore the one who was supposed to fight and got hurt or something?
Probably.
I think that's what I read.
We need Wes.
Yeah, he won both of his fights. He won both.
And then he got
according
hurt.
to Tapology. I did not watch The Ultimate Fighter. I am not Wes.
I watched the first episode, or maybe 2 episodes. I was like, I haven't watched Tough in forever. It hasn't been around. I watched the first episode and I was like, oh God, whatever. And the second episode I watched like 10 minutes and I skipped to the fight. Just like fast forward and I went to the fight and I was like, oh, the fight's like worse and almost as bad as the commentary and the nerdiness in the house. And it really did it for me. That's as far as I got. I probably watched 60 minutes of Tough, and it was a lot. But isn't there going to be, God, the Tough coaches, Rose versus Esparza. That's how you bring in the audience.
No.
I'll tune in.
I thought they were talking about doing Nunes versus Pena.
Oh, same thing.
Yeah, it's horrible.
I don't know where I got Rose. The same thing. Can you think? Nunes has to be. Pena is the most annoying dumb human. She was on Rogan's podcast. She's like I think she's like a Sandy Hook truther, and like she's fucking
probably
big dumb idiot.
She didn't know how old she was. So.
Well, that's a tough question, and Rogan would argue with her. Rogan would argue with her anyway, even no matter how old. Well, are you really?
Where's the source to this? What sources do you have?
Let's Google it. And Nunes doesn't even speak English, so like, I don't know how this is gonna go. That's gonna be bad.
Who cares? It doesn't matter because Tough is the worst.
We'll have to get the Coles notes from Wes every week.
Yes, yeah. Wes can give us a 5-minute breakdown of what he watched on Tough every week as a segment.
Now that being said, Wes did say in our chat that Battle is gonna fuck Gore up supposedly.
No, other way around.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
When did he say this?
Today, earlier.
No, he didn't.
I'm pretty sure it was the other way around. It was definitely.
Oh, Gore. I got to confirm this now.
Yeah. Hold on, this is making for a great podcast, guys.
I know it's fucking bad, but I thought
Wes said card looks like a minefield for betting.
Yep.
Gore is gonna smoke Battle. Looking at a couple dogs, maybe Chidi. Definitely one of those cards where I need to do the show and talk myself into a few bets.
Well, Wes isn't betting anything this week, folks.
No bets. We're gonna look at Wes is gonna post like 13 bets on Friday because he hasn't bet in 2 weeks. We gotta make up for it.
What a guy! What a guy! God. Well, I'll have to take Wes's word for it because he actually watched Tough. Gore, the guys that he fought before getting into Tough are combined 1-6 or 1-8. I forget what it is. It's bad, but if he says that he's gonna win, I will pick that guy. I
not bet him though.
Fuck no.
No. Brad.
I'm doing the math right now, and the guys that that Battle beat to get in the Tough House were like 8 and 9, and he had 5 or 6 fights before he got into Tough. So both of these guys horrible. Have faced absolute trash competition. I have no opinion on this fight. I've never seen Gore fight. I didn't watch any of Tough. I saw the finale. Battle looked awful. He won because he faced a guy on 6 hours notice that gassed after whooping his ass for the first 3 minutes of the fight. So I think Gore would probably be the play, but I'm not playing it.
So did they have was there a Tough card?
Yeah, it's just one of them pulled out because of injury.
But was there a whole card of Tough fighters? I don't remember this.
I think there was a couple of fights.
Last fight was. It was Barboza and Chikadze.
Oh, so they don't even have a Tough card anymore. They just stick one fighter.
No, they had 3 Tough fights basically, I think, or 2.
Because did I watch? When was that card?
That was on August 28th.
And
where was I? Where was I August 28th?
I don't know.
I didn't watch any of this
card because it was.
You watch every card, so
no, I didn't see. I've never seen this card.
This is when Meerkat subbed that dude when he was a massive underdog. You remember this card? You watched.
Yes, but I don't remember. I did not watch the main event. Why didn't I watch the main event? Where did I go?
Because Giga was in it.
I would have watched it. I remember this entire card, but I know for a fact. I remember the Kevin Lee fight. I must have just fallen asleep.
That's not beyond the possibilities. That's for sure.
I sort of remember. I think I bet on Ricky Tercios. I remember that now. But I remember not watching the Giga fight. I must have literally watched like another maybe I watched too many of those tough like breakdowns or whatever, and I fell asleep. I did not. I still haven't seen that fight yet. The Giga fight versus Barbosa. Anyway, Brad, did you pick something here yet?
Yeah.
Who'd you pick?
How long do you want me to break this down?
Huh?
He agreed with Wes because Wes knows and we don't.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Gore looks better physically. Yep. He physically looks like if they were to fight, it would not be competitive. I did watch. I do remember his last fight, Battle's last fight, and I remember seeing some of the highlights and stuff. Maybe I watched one of his fights on Tough, whatever. Battle looks just like super green and raw, not in like a good way. Like sometimes you have like early in career, like the guy's got massive power, but he just fucking raw, so he leaves his chin out there. Battle just kind of looked like to me like he moves a little bit in slow motion, and he's not overly athletic. And I think you at this level, like you have to be super technical and skilled to not be that athletic. And I feel like Gore is the athlete out of these two, so I'm not gonna bet on this fight. Absolutely no way. But in the old tout master, I'll be taking Gore. And I believe this is where the Brendan Allen fight falls.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
All right. Brendan Allen versus Smiling Sam Alvey, who, what is it now? Is it 9? Is it 9 straight fights without a win? 7, 8, something like
that? It's at least 7.
It's 7. He beat legend Jean Vellante in his last win. In a split decision in 2018.
Oh my god! All right, so here it is. He's lost. It's 4. He's lost. He's like 7 in a row without a win, because he had a draw versus the Unhung. And it's not like good guys. Like he's mostly losing to losers. Pretty good win beating the Unhung, or drawing the Unhung, right?
Some people say he should have won that fight.
I mean, the Unhung looks great
now. Point deduction in that fight?
I can't remember if it was a point deduction or a 10-8 round.
The Unhung.
It was a 10-8 for Zhang in the third on one card, and then both the other guys split.
Interesting. Anyway, it's amazing. Alvey did say today that they talked about him being a company man. He goes, I'll fight Francis Ngannou tomorrow. He's not even kidding.
No, because that means he can stay in the UFC. Somehow.
Someone posted, I think it was Aaron posted as a joke and be like, I hope since Alvey took this guarantees him another fight in the UFC after this.
And everybody was like, no.
Everyone was giving him shit. He was joking around. Like,
no thanks.
The funny thing is, if Alvey's I guarantee it. If Alvey gets subbed in round 1, he'll be fighting in the UFC in 3 months.
He'll get one more. One more.
Anyway, Nishon, how's this go? Is it go easy?
I hope so. I think if Brendan Allen fights smart, it will. It's just he hasn't tended to do that lately. Even when he beat Soriano 2 fights ago, he did win, and it was somewhat easy. I just thought the path would be a lot easier if he took down Soriano. He decided to strike for 3 rounds. And then against Curtis, I thought he could have grappled a bit better and used his size advantage in that fight, and he did not, and he paid for it. Sam Alvey always had like a really good chin until like 2018, and people started to crack him. He's been pretty durable, so even when he gets dropped, he doesn't always get finished, but man, he keeps on getting hit, and it is not good for that brain. So I think Brendan Allen can get some takedowns and get a sub. I also think there's a possibility that he could outstrike him and crack that chin. The number's big for a reason. Alvey is fucking horrible, and against anybody decent, they should beat him very easily. Brendan Allen inside the distance just opened up plus 110 at dimes. I am gonna take that.
Brad?
Yeah, I like Allen quite a bit in this one as well. Alvey is he's never been good, and now he's getting to the point where his good characteristics, like his durability, takedown defense, all those things are starting to go. I think this is at 205, which is probably good for Allen because it means he doesn't have to cut a shitload of weight to get down to 185. Alvey's fat, whether he's at 205 or 185, so it really doesn't matter. I just think that, it's kind of concerning to rely on Brendan Allen to come in with a smart game plan. And the smart game plan here would be to grapple because he's got a big advantage if this hits the ground. But even if it stays on the feet, he's gotten a lot better on the feet. I think he can throw a lot of kicks, maybe even hurt Alvey to the body. I'm not sure that Allen has the power to knock him out. So that's where I could see, him just winning a 30-27 by being the more athletic striker and Alvey not throwing anything. But most likely, I think that Allen finds a way to get to the ground and find himself a sub or a TKO because he does have some pretty nasty ground pound that we haven't seen unleashed in too long.
Yeah, I like Brendan Allen here. I think the short notice is actually a good thing for him here. I think without a training camp, without having his normal gas tank and everything, I think he needs to be smarter, even with someone like Sam Alvey. And I think if you aren't prepared and you're not in a big training camp, like, wouldn't you want to not think about it and just take the easiest path to victory no matter what? Just go, okay, I'm a grappler, I'm going to grapple. I think that combined with the Curtis fight, like, if that's not an awakening for Brendan Allen, I don't know what is. Like, it's good to improve your striking. Our Lord and Savior Charles do Bronx Oliveira changed some things, right? Like, that guy became a good striker. But when the going gets tough, Charles is getting your back, and he's still going to result of that. So you don't use striking, changes and being better at striking to just mean that you are a striker. Use it to strike when you have to, but you still go to your ground game. And I'm hoping the Chris Curtis fight is something for Brendan Allen to look back and go, God, what a moron. I am a grappler who's trying to learn to strike so I can get to my grappling. And that's how you should look at it. And I think the short notice and the knockout, we're going to see Brendan Allen, the grappler here. The dude is absolutely ferocious on top. His ground and pound is – he's constantly going for subs. As he's going to sub and get in position, he is just murdering you where you want him to get the choke. Like, just some vicious fucking ground and pound for this guy. So I like Brendan Allen a lot here. I do think he gets a finish. Like, this is it for old Sam. I think Sam actually had a way better chance against the Hogs because that would have been a fight that was probably on the feet, and the Hogs does, gas out a little bit.
Bet it.
There'll be a rematch. Brendan Allen inside the distance, I think, is the bet that I like here. And I believe this is what we went to for consensus. Is that right? Yep. So consensus bet of the week, Brendan Allen inside the distance at plus 110. We were all pretty surprised, and that line just came out at plus money. All right, let's move up to the welterweight division as we have Shave Cat, Rakhmanov versus Carlson Harris. Nishan?
I think the Shaved Cat is very, very good.
So good.
What he did against Prazeres, like, I know the numbers weren't huge of him, smashing him. I mean, he did get him out of there like he's got every other fight that he's been in.
Literally.
But nobody has dominated Prazeres like that. Like, I know Prazeres going up in weight kind of at an older age, but to me that was impressive how he just manhandled that dude. And obviously in the Howboy fight, he just wrecked Howboy. I think this guy can be very, very good. He's only 27 years old. It's good to see. Dude is a dynamic finisher. I think he wins and gets Harris out of there. Like I said, he's 14 wins, all by finish, half of them sub, half of them KO. I think he can smash Harris. Harris has got a little bit of momentum behind him, I guess. I'm surprised this line is not wider. Like, Harris's wins in the UFC are Castañeda and Christina Aguilera. Just those don't match what Rakhmanov has shown and who he's fought. So
yeah,
I'm big on him. I got 2.5 units on Rakhmanov in a parlay. Him inside the distance is just slight minus money, I might take a shot at that as well. I
Apparently
think you might
Brad's
have to.
dead.
Yeah, Brad decided to take a break.
Brad is dead, and Jimmy the Trunk said in the comments, Alvey had 3 opponents for this fight: Heinisch, Hawes, and Allen. All 3 fights, the opponent was minus 400.
and legit, like dude has 0 wins in 7 fights.
To me, it's like when I look at a minus 400, like we see minus 400s lose. Like if Heinisch, Hawes, or Brendan Allen lost to Sam Alvey in this fight, that's like one of the biggest upsets I've seen in a long time. Like these should be minus 800s.
It's bad.
I don't get. He loses every time he fights unless he faces the unhung and claims a draw. So
yeah.
For this fight, going back to this fight with Shave Cat, I like Shave Cat, man. He's just vicious and he's good everywhere. I mean, you don't see guys like him. Like he can finish in the feet. He has okay grappling. He has good submissions. He seems like he has it all. And I think hopefully after this fight, if he does what he's supposed to in here, this seems like a guy who is ready for a step up. I don't see any reason to kind of hold him back any longer. I think Harris is okay. He's not great. He's I don't know. There's nothing about him. He's old too. He's 34. He's old as shit. So
yep.
he hasn't fought anyone with a pulse yet since he got to the UFC. He does have some good power, but I think that actually he finishes a lot. He has some, some subs and he has, a bunch of knockouts early on, decent power, but I think that's actually a bad thing versus Shave Cat. If you come in ultra aggressive versus that guy, you're just going to piss him off and he's going to get ultra you don't want him countering you too aggressively because he's going to get that finish there. So I like Shave Cat a lot. I like him inside the distance. I think that's worth a stab. He's never been to a decision, so I don't see the fight that's going to get him there, the 34-year-old who's used to facing absolute bums. So it's Shave Cat inside for me. Brad?
Yeah, my computer did the thing where it says like 20% battery and then decided to turn off right away. That was fun.
Eddie wants to say hi.
Can't trust it. Can't trust it.
Yeah, Shave Cat's good. I'm not sure if it was Sean or Wes, but one of them stole Shave Cat as my breakout fighter of the year pick this year. That was Sean. It was a good pick. This fight, I think he's going to win. I think he is quite talented, but I think that the Carlton is all right. He's good at. I know that his last couple fights in the UFC have been quick finishes, but he's usually good at getting into the clinch and slowing fights down and turning them into grappling contests a little bit. And I think that that's something he'll do here. Shave Cat will win those, but I think it's gonna take a while for him to actually put him away, if he does put him away at all. This might be the first time that we see the Shave Cat go to a decision. I wouldn't be shocked by that. And we got an over 1.5 here in a welterweight fight that I think is between 2 decent guys. So I took some Shave Cats over 1.5 minus 125.
Alrighty, let's move up to the co-main event as we have Puna Soriano taking on Nick Maximov. Yes, you heard right. I said co-main event. Nushan?
They all want to fight.
I mean, this Nick Maximov guy, like, what the fuck? This guy sucks. He's sucked on Contender Series. He's sucked in his debut, and now he's got a co-main?
It's definitely a way for them to try and leverage a Diaz fight.
I know, but this is embarrassing.
It is. It's very bad.
It is.
No, it is.
I still think he might get takedowns in this fight.
He has no gas tank, and he can't finish.
I think if he gets him down, I think he could finish him. But I don't know. I don't think that happens. I really wish we would have seen Brendan Allen grapple against Soriano. I think then we'd have more more answers if Soriano is that good of has that good a takedown defense. I think it's still more of an unknown. Maximov is terrible, and if it's on the feet, Soriano is going to light him up. Is there a chance that he gets him down and can do something once he's on the ground? I do think it's possible. I just have to go with Soriano because he's more of a known commodity.
Yeah, I think the one thing that Maximov can do if he gets this to the ground is I'll probably fall asleep. So you can put me to sleep. That's good for him. Not interested in this fight. I thought that Puna could be something at some point. I don't think that's the case anymore, but I still think he's good enough to win this fight. Imagine a Diaz-trained wrestler. That's what Nick Maximov is. Like, what are we doing here?
He's a big dumb meathead on top of it. Yeah, I like Puna here. I haven't given up on him yet. He's not like 35 or anything like that. He's in his late 20s. I think he's like 28, 29. Like he's not washed. And I think Brendan Allen can just sometimes be a nightmare matchup for people when he's fighting. And when you're fighting Brendan Allen, he decides to stay on the feet. He's very, very long, especially versus someone like Soriano. And you got to be aware of that takedown at all times. I think it just threw him off a little bit. And sometimes you get a loss, right, as you're coming up. But I don't think he's pretty good. I think he can stuff the takedowns here, keep it standing. Maximov does not have a good gas tank either. And I think Soriano is going to stuff a few takedowns early in the first. And then you're going to see Maximov just slowly decline, give up, probably have some kind of mental breakdown, flick him off, do something stupid, and then just get his fucking head kicked in. I think Puna actually gets a finish in this one. I think it's going to be second or third round when Maximov starts slowing down. He can't get the fight to the ground. I think it becomes desperation. I think Soriano gets finished. So I will be betting on Soriano probably in a parlay. So yeah, Soriano.
Did you see a couple days ago when the UFC posted like 7 years ago today, Nick Diaz laid down in the cage and all that? That remains to this day the single thing that I understand the least in UFC history. Why people were like, man, that was so cool when he did that.
Not cool. That was you paid like $70 for a pay-per-view and this guy's literally laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And Anderson Silva did nothing about it.
I would have people with elbows drop.
Yeah.
Win 50-45.
Yeah.
That's all he did.
We do have a really good main event here. And this card, like when you're going through it, like there's a lot of interesting spots. There's a lot of action fights in this card. Like I actually don't hate this card overall from the fight night, but main event's great. Middleweight division, Jack Hermansson taking on Sean Strickland, there's not a second place for most crazy fighter in UFC history behind Sean Strickland. Like, are you seeing the shit? Now he's talking about like jacking off during fights and like his comment, like this is the craziest shit I've ever read. That he's always way out there, but this week he's like nuts. He's like, I'm popular now. I can say whatever the fuck I want. Like, and all this shit. He's talking about how he loves gay guys, like, and all this stuff. And like everything he says, he might be like top 5 favorite fighter in the UFC right now, Sean Strickland. I love him.
I don't understand the backlash on Sean Strickland.
I know you're
not supposed to say these things. You're supposed to keep them in your head until you do something bad to people close to you or yourself.
I forgot that in the sport where people punch each other in the face, we're supposed to have non-sociopaths.
Mentors. Well, the one thing when he first got a couple months ago, he said he wants to be the first person to kill someone in the octagon.
Kill someone, yeah.
But you can tell by the way he fights that he doesn't.
Yeah, I know. It's obviously all talk by his. He can't even knock a guy out, let alone kill him. But dude, his quotes are so good. Like I'm dying reading them all week.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right,
I enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a shtick or if he is that crazy.
He's absolutely
a little bit.
You can't.
But he might be amplifying it a little bit.
Maybe a little bit, but you can't. Yes, he's amplifying a little bit, exaggerating a little bit, but like. The guy's obviously got a fucking screw loose.
Yeah.
Like to even say that stuff. Even if he was doing stand-up comedy, he'd be like, I got a little off.
Yeah, that's fair. He is a pretty damn good fighter.
He's gotten so good.
Yeah, that time off, the old Frank Mir vacation has really helped his game going up in weight, and the dude is just a great overall fighter. Like his striking is very, very good, and he actually has a pretty good grappling game. I think Hermansson can be dangerous early, as he usually is in fights. I know he's caught a couple. Well, he had a decision last time out against a dead body after the second round. But usually he's the guy that gets a win early, or he kind of gasses and guys take over and either win a decision or get him out of there. I think Soriano will be able to stuff takedowns and pressure him and keep him off him in the first round. And then I think the kind of the ball starts rolling downhill. I know Hermansson's been to a couple decisions lately. I don't think those guys throw the amount that Strickland does and put the pressure on that Strickland does. So I'm expecting Strickland to kind of take over in the second round and kind of possibly get him out of there in the third or the fourth. So I got Strickland in a parlay with Rakhmanov, Shave Cat, plus 118 for 2.5 units. And I'm going to be on Strickland, and Hermansson does not go to decision. I got 1 unit already, and I'm going to add another one at minus 120.
Brett?
I like Strickland in this fight as well. I think we were kind of high on Strickland before the accident, and then he came back and we weren't quite sure. And then he was like outboxed Jack Marshman, but talked half the time instead of actually punching, and we still weren't sure. But the last couple performances have been pretty good. Obviously, finally got a main event and looked all right there, but he's good enough that he always just kind of does enough to win. He doesn't really put a stamp on fights other than that Allen fight, where that was the one that kind of convinced me he can win here, because he took Allen down. It says that Allen didn't shoot a takedown in that fight, but I feel like I remember Allen trying to grapple and very quickly being thrown off and punched in the face a bunch. So I think that Strickland can have a lot of the same success against Hermansson. I can't trust this guy to get a finish. When he's ahead in fights, he's totally willing to just coast and jab and land and look good and talk a lot of shit and not get a finish. So I like Strickland to win, but I'm not sure that he actually stops him.
I think he does. I'm looking at playing doesn't go in this fight. I think it's going to be Hermansson early with a submission, or even a little bit later. Hermansson is very, very good with his submission game, and he can grab something out of nowhere. Or I think it's just Strickland just wearing on him. Strickland puts on a pressure on guys, where in a 5-round fight, I think just the amount, even though Strickland's not this big finisher, and that's the one thing of his game he hasn't really developed, is that punching power and just really, being able to finish guys. But I think with that said, 25 minutes, his pressure on Hermansson, and Hermansson has definitely faded in fights a lot if he can't get the fight where he wants to. And I think it's either going to be Hermansson sub early, or maybe even catches him, who knows. But I think it's a Hermansson sub early, or I think it's Strickland rounds 3 or 4 kind of really turning up the pace. And I think it's just too many punches, Hermansson too tired, can't stop it. So I do think this fight is going to end in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So I also doesn't go the distance at minus 120. And we'll see where that moves. I haven't bet anything yet, but I think it's worth the stab. So that'll be my bet on this one. And we all, as we always, post our bets on Twitter if you guys want to see us once the final card is kind of finished. But quick show this week. Apparently, Wes talks for 30 minutes every week. Who would have known?
It also helps that there's a couple shitty fights, too.
Yes, Alexis Davis is fighting, if you didn't know.
Case in point.
And the recap was quick, too.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. But I'm excited for the fights this weekend. I am. I'm excited. There's something, even a week off, right? We had no fights last week. It's it is good sometimes. But now I've had enough breaks. We had the 3-week break or 4-week break or whatever, and then we just had another break. It's all right, I'm ready for my weekly Saturday fights. So I am excited for fights this weekend.
There needs to be a monthly break, not
Once
this
a month.
A couple weeks and then a card and then another break and then a card. It just
Well, if they did it where UFC didn't have a fight every 4 weeks or 3 or 4 weeks they take a 1-week break. I wish the Bellator and them were Granosa, it was nice having a Bellator event to watch with the week off. But Bellator was
it because
I know
That's the first time I've watched Bellator in a while.
Well, Bellator's probably
catch up
I have
on.
a better idea. What if we put our biggest show at the same time as Do Bronx Gaethje? Ooh, wait. I have a different idea. What about next time there's a heavyweight title fight? We just have our best card ever. It's free on Showtime. Fucking
It's on
moron.
YouTube up here.
Yep, we get it free off the YouTubes.
Oh, really? I just Showtime's like $9 a month or something. I have Showtime, and then I'll cancel it off and on if there's no cards. But yeah, I enjoyed that card. The Bellator card was good. So yeah, that'll do it. So yeah, we'll see you next week. Is the pay-per-view next week?
That is correct.
That's the other thing too. I do not want more than one one pay-per-view every 5 weeks is plenty. I don't want 2 pay-per-views in 3 weeks. That's just not much. And it's not even a good card, right? It's horrible, right?
You can't
Next
ask
week's
them
pay-per-view?
to add that far. Come on.
Isn't it really bad?
I mean, Derek Lewis is fighting
Again?
But that's
Yeah,
like, yeah, he's fighting Tai Tuivasa.
Yeah, and Cannonier's fighting Brunson.
That's
okay.
This card.
But yes, these are some pretty poorly stacked
Did
pay-per-views.
you see who's on the card next week, though, Brad? Thick Willie.
Oh,
yeah.
On the pay-per-view? Oh, there we go.
No.
He's on the prelims. But he's in the prelims because on the pay-per-view is Kyler Phillips versus Marcelo Rojo.
Obviously.
What are they thinking? And then the Bobby Green Nasrat is on the pay-per-view too. This card's pretty shitty. And then you got Perez versus Snell buried in the prelims. When you got,
I mean, that fight's not going to happen anyway.
probably be canceled. That's a great fight.
If it ever happens, yeah.
This doesn't seem like Cannonade Brunson. I mean, the card's okay. Cannonade Brunson, Tai Tuivasa, Black Beast. I don't know. If I'm gonna buy a pay-per-view, which I buy 95% of them, so let's be real. When I buy a pay-per-view, I at least want the main event to be like, I am just not intrigued by this main event. I don't know. I don't know why, but Whitaker versus Izzy. Izzy never does it for me. Whitaker Izzy just does not do it for me.
Come on, you might see Izzy get humbled.
I'm gonna bet against him.
Izzy.
Fuck him. Like a fucking douche. Titty.
What's the line on that? Because I'm probably going to bet against Izzy.
I don't think it's
you
anything.
all are going to lose money betting on Whitaker, and
Plus
it is
240.
Yep,
that's worth it.
That's high.
I thought it was gonna be much lower.
Yeah,
it is. It is a bit high, but
remember that time that he lost to Jan Blachowicz?
We all made money on that, though. We were all on Jan. It was awesome.
Wow, that's the money. Yeah, that fight was interesting. Man, Snell's plus 300 versus Perez. That's wild shit. Oh, Munich, Thick Willie plus 155.
Really?
Yeah,
against the PFL fraud.
Yeah, wow. Maxime Grishin. That's
or is that the WSOF fraud?
Who cares? He's dead, man. I don't look at who his opponent is. I just blindly bet the thickness. I've been doing that for Dubronx for forever. It seems to work.
Well,
you blindly bet it because there's nothing else you can see.
I'm just pumped for Arlovsky versus Vandera. That's just. Oh, my boy Ronnie Lawrence is back. All right, this card getting better.
He's supposed to have been back a bunch of times now. And
Kid's good. Kid's good.
Moicano Hernandez. There's a couple good fights on.
There's some fights on that card. It's just not the pay-per-view is.
Pay-per-view's weak.
Very mediocre.
The prelims are great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say great. They're all right.
They're good. They're good.
Thick Willie. Great.
There's the Fraud King on there.
Good card. All right, that'll do it. We will see you next week. Everyone win your bets, enjoy the fights, and we'll see you in a week.